What's up, everybody? It's the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff. Me, Ryan McGuffey, here in the Recap Studios. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's all brought to you by our fine partners at Hooters. You know the drill. Visit originalhooters.com to visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. Put a great question out there on social due to what was one of the most epic sports collapses of all time last night in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and the Knicks. Got me thinking, what's the biggest collapse in Chicago sports history? A lot of people chiming in on that. I'm going to hold your thought. The bet of the day, it's on fire. Am I getting too greedy, folks? I gave out 2 the other day. I gave out 1 last night. I'm giving out 3. Usually, you know me, I pick 1. I'm going to give out 3 later in the program. 3 bets. I'm going to take a chance. We'll see what happens. And then the Blackhawks have named Jeff Blashill as their head coach. That coming out just moments ago, not long before we went live here on the program from the Detroit Red Wings organization. I'll give you something here from my old friend Charlie Romeliotis, who does outstanding work on the Blackhawks beat and does their pre- and post-game show for WGN Radio. Kyle Davidson says Jeff is an incredibly smart and talented coach who boasts more than 25 years of coaching experience across developmental leagues, the NHL, and the world stage. He's thrived when in position to develop young players and has shown he's capable of blending that into overall team success. A vision and philosophy we share for where we are today and where we see our team in the future. We couldn't be more excited about what's to come under Jeff's direction. The great Pat Boyle, who hosts pre- and post-game on CHSN, a teammate of mine for 20-plus years. He will join us next week on the show after he's introduced to the media. Charlie says the cards were stacked heavily against him in Detroit, where he took over at the end of the Red Wings' historic playoff streak, thrown into a full rebuild. He lasted 7 seasons, won a Calder Cup, a Clark Cup, coached Team USA at the Worlds in 2017, spent the last 3 years under John Cooper in Tampa, arguably the NHL's top coach, not the flashiest name, but with his development background and head coaching experience at every level, he feels like a strong fit to guide Chicago through the next phase of the rebuild. Don't overlook his ability to assemble a respectful staff either. And I threw that out there on Twitter. If you want to follow me at Ryan McGuffey, there's more about the naming of the Blackhawks head coach. A lot of comments out there. My goodness, the chat's already full. Let's get to the fun one, though, because I'm watching that game with my wife last night, just thinking there, watching the Pacers just hit ho-hum threes, cutting the lead from 14 to 11 to 9. Okay, it's 7. Like, are we paying attention? And then the Tyrese Halliburton shot, the reaction in my house, I went ballistic because I'm like, the odds of that ball, first, Halliburton driving in, acknowledging the clock, turning around, shooting the fall-away 3. Obviously, his foot was on the line, so it became a 2. Ball goes off the back of the rim. And rather than going off and out, it goes straight up. And it's like, wait. Unbelievable. And then the Reggie Miller the infamous choke sign with Reggie Miller on the call. Just like so much stuff going on. So I asked, what's the biggest collapse in Chicago sports history? I have some thoughts. I want to hear yours. Eric says, crazy ending to the game last night. That's what the NBA playoffs are all about. You never know what's going to happen. Dallas Stars went on a 5-goal third to win game 1. Yeah, you had a hockey comeback. Stars were down 3-1. But it failed in comparison to what we saw in New York. Looks like the Blackhawks just got their new head coach. We just talked about him. Hopefully he can turn this franchise around to become a playoff team and competitive again. Breck Bear, my guy, the craziest thing that happened in the NBA yesterday was the MVP going to a good player. Ooh, I know where this is going, SGA, but not the league's best player. Does the award still reflect the true MVP? Well, I would ask this. Go back and look at Michael Jordan's numbers in years he didn't win the MVP. And he won 5. It's asinine to even say that. He only won 5. He won 6 finals MVPs, as we know. I think there's disdain sometimes to keep giving it to the same guy, which I don't understand. When you average a triple-double for the year, and you got to look, if you take Nikola Jokic off of the Denver Nuggets, and you can make arguments, whatever, as you take SGA off, but Jokic, he's playing with no other all-stars. He is the guy. And I don't know. They aren't an organization without Jokic. They're not. OKC's built a little bit differently. They kind of built that thing from the ground up with a great supporting cast. I'm with Breck on this one. I thought it should have gone to Jokic. When you're averaging a triple-double, I know they're looking at a 68 and what was it, 68-14 record, number one seed. I understand all of the optics and why it went there, but I don't disagree with the comment. I said last month Halliburton was cold. He dropped several more degrees after last night. I've watched that replay at least 5 more times today. Unbelievable. The old ice in the veins, OD, right? The real Phil Simms. Wild game last night. Halliburton is definitely that dude. Knicks better win tomorrow night, or this series is over. Ask Milwaukee and Cleveland. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how do they respond, because it happened at home. And the Knicks fans have actually been so fun to watch because how excited they are. I miss that excitement in this city. I miss that excitement. And I love Tibbs. And there's a lot of people going at Tibbs today, like, how could you let players need to be blamed too? Players are on the floor. When you're letting a guy score 20 points in the fourth quarter with 6 threes, and then you're not doing your job, you don't foul Obi Toppin when he's going in for, like, you're supposed to foul him before he goes in for the easy flush. That doesn't happen. Tibbs after the game, one-word answer. Were you supposed to foul? Yes. Coaches coach, players play. Coaches got to put their players in position to succeed. It just doesn't make sense. I saw some incredible stats last night as we have yet to answer the biggest collapse. I want to read a lot of these here, by the way. There's a ton of them coming on in social. Matter of fact, I think I'll just do that because if you look, I retweeted a couple. Here's one of them. Teams up 14 in the final 250 of a playoff fourth quarter or overtime in the play-by-play era are 977-1. The one was last night. And then the Pacers tweeted this one. Amazing. Since 96-97, teams that have trailed by 7 or more in the final 50 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs all time since 96-97 are 4 and 1,702. The Pacers have 3 of those wins, and all of them are this year. Insane. Absolutely insane. Eric is asking, if the Knicks lose game 2, do you think the series is over? Will New York come? I'm kind of with you guys. I'm with Phil. I'm with you, Eric. It feels like it'd be tough to overcome going into Indiana down 2-0. Never say never, but Indiana is definitely the comeback team of this playoffs. Starves definitely did the damn thing in the third period yesterday. Oilers look shook. They better leave. Dallas tied 1-1. How do we feel about the new Hawks coach? For me, I seek information in times like this, Phil. I need to know more about Jeff Blashill. I go to the people who know him best. We'll have Pat Boyle on this program next week. I will work on a day to getting him in here, or on here, I should say, as a guest. And you guys can fire away your thoughts about the Chicago Blackhawks, their new head coach, and where are they going to go in free agency. My guy, Eric Munt. I might be seeing a Munt this weekend. How about that? Biggest collapse in Chicago sports history, and a lot of people are saying it. The 03 Cubs. It's one of them. I think it's in consideration. They came back to Chicago up 3-2 with Pryor and Wood on the hill in 6 and 7. They had a 3-0 lead in the 7th inning with Mark Pryor on the hill. We know what happened from there. We know that Bartman, the situation with Bartman. And this is where I will die on this hill forever and always. And here's another fan on Twitter who said the same thing. There's a lot of game 6s on Twitter, okay? And I like that some people, like here, Cubs game 6, come on, Cap. 3-0 8th inning, 6 outs away from the World Series. NLCS game 6. But there was one tweet in here. I'm trying to find it. A lot of in 1984s, and I would argue that that's actually a bigger collapse for sure. Here, finally, this guy says Alex Gonzalez in the 2003 Cubs. Chris, you get a bonus point. And then Rojo says, finally, someone that doesn't put blame on Bartman. It's unfortunate what happened to him, but it was not his fault. Definitely not his fault. There's not a person alive out there that wouldn't have made a play on the foul ball. And how Moises Alou reacted with his little pout, slamming his glove and pouting. And then everyone just kind of like waiting to seek him out, and they're pointing at him. And then the next, by the way, your pitcher's on the mound just watching all of this, Mark Pryor. You could have gone out there, pitching coach. Someone could have gone out there and been like, hey, dude, keep pitching. We got you. No one went out there. He throws a perfect pitch on the next at bat, a little rollover 6-4-3, and your shortstop, who was one of the best fielding shortstops in baseball, boots it. And it unravels from there. And you carried that stuff over into game 7. I was at game 7 with my brother 22 years ago. And that crowd was electric when Kerry Wood homered. I've still never been in an arena that loud. Maybe game 7 of Cleveland when Rajai Davis hit the home run. But we were in the upper deck and the seats were doing this. And you let it get away. People let you had mental fatigue. And the players let it happen. 0-3 is definitely up there. 84, you had a 2-0 lead. And the Padres came back and won 3 straight. That's tough. And the Cubs got screwed because they didn't have lights. So the Padres got to host an extra game rather than the Cubs. And the Padres took 3 straight. And the 84 Cubs, who are one of the most favorite teams in this fine city, kind of like the 83 White Sox, we never got to see it play out because they blew it. Eric says 0-3 Cubs. OD, the Bartman game, biggest collapse. The immediate sequence after was an all-time collapse, including still having a game 7. Everyone knew the Marlins had it in the bag. And I did a documentary. If you've seen it, it's called 5 Outs. And I wanted to do it. I did it in 2013 at Comcast Sportsnet back then. It was our first documentary that we ever did. The reason I wanted to do it is because they were 5 outs away. And I thought Bartman got screwed, and I wanted to tell the story as to why. I wanted to tell the story that there was a lot of stuff. There were 5 outs away. Here are the things that unfolded after. And in that documentary, Moises Alou and Aramis Ramirez on camera admitted after game 6, they bought plane tickets home. They bought plane tickets home. This is a real documentary. I did it. William Peterson narrated it, the great William Peterson. They admitted on camera. Moises Alou said he went to Aramis Ramirez and said, if we lose tomorrow, we don't want to be around here. Let's get the hell out. They bought plane tickets home after game 6 with Kerry Wood on the hill. And they didn't think it was a big deal. That's a mental, you didn't have the testicular fortitude to actually understand that sometimes you get your back pressed against the wall. And if you want to do something that no team in the history of Chicago had done, the 0-3 Cubs had a red carpet to the World Series. And you let the Marlins steal it right from you because they didn't care. The Marlins were too young and too dumb to know any better. And they took it right from you. Never were scared of the moment. And so that's to OD's point about the Marlins having it in the bag. Michael brings up another good one that's here on Twitter. The 1969 Cubs. We know about the Black Cat. And then from there, was it a 10-game lead in the final month? And the Black Cat in Shea Stadium comes across the on-deck circle with Ron Santo. The Cubs finished 92-70. Bringing up that box score right now. The Cubs, going into September, had a 5-game lead. They go on September 3rd, my birthday, of course, it was 1969, 10 years prior to this guy being here. They lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. They lose 11 of 12, and they piss away a chance, and they lost the division by 8 games. And that team was full of Hall of Famers, to your point, Michael. Pablo, last night, that Pacers-Knicks game brought me back to the 90s and early 2000s NBA where games were tough and always exciting. No doubt. Very physical in the early going, too. I mean, that thing, they were letting guys play, and they were getting beat up. And I was on the phone with Cap at one point saying, this thing reminds me of the 90s, man. They're letting guys get to the hoop, and they're getting popped. If the Sox hadn't held off Cleveland in 05, Landon, that would have been the biggest collapse. The White Sox were on their way to having one of the all-time collapses. A 15-game lead, got down to a game and a half. But the difference is, Landon, the White Sox held them off. They won 6 in a row to end the year. They are tied with the Yankees for the best postseason in history of baseball. The White Sox, a lot of people don't know this. Yeah, they were 11-1 in the postseason, but they had won 6 in a row to enter. They finished 17-1 their last 18 games. No collapse there. Eli, hi, did the White Sox start spending a little bit next year or only 27? Interesting. I think, Eli, we can't answer that question yet until the end of the year where they know a lot more about guys like Colson Montgomery. I think they know Chase Mydroth looks like a guy, more about Braden Montgomery, more about some of these young pitchers who have pitched really well. And after the trade deadline, I think it all is part of the blender and the package. We might be able to answer this question better in August. Happy Friday Eve from Kyle. Looks like the Blackhawks finally have their head coach in Jeff Blashill. Dealt a bad hand in Detroit and hope Cooper in Tampa has learned from him. Can't really do worse than the past few coaches. Go Blackhawks. Kyle, really well said. It matches up with a lot of the stuff being said on social media about the coach. Looking at the all-time biggest collapses, it's definitely between on Twitter, We got 69 Cubs, game 603, 84 Cubs. Someone actually said Greg Johnson on Twitter, the next 9 games after this, and then put a GIF in there of the Hail Mary from last year. Andy, the 69 Cubs for sure, because the Cubs were playing good ball in the years around that time, and that was the real letdown, especially losing to the Mets. Lip says, the way I look at this Blackhawks hire is that Blashill got to spend time with Cooper in Tampa Bay, and that never hurts. No doubt about it. Breck, 5 outs was a great program about the Cubs collapse. Appreciate that, my guy, the all-time support from Breck. He has seen that, and I'm telling you, there's a 30 for 30 that was strictly about like Bartman, and I thought it was, to be honest with you, and I've met the filmmakers. I know Cap knows them well. I thought it was lazy. I thought it's a lazy take to fall in line that it's some fan's fault about putting his hands up on a damn foul ball when you know every other one of you are doing that. It's about the reaction from your left fielder who whined and complained. That fan, you know what? Make a play. Make a play. Stop buying plane tickets on your way home days before the damn thing's supposed to be over. Unbelievable. He should have bought a ticket over to Hooters. He should have just gone over to Hooters. Hooters O'Hare was around back then. He could have gone to Hooters O'Hare or Hooters downtown, one of the Chicagoland locations, right downtown on Wells Street. Moises Alou and Ramos Ramirez just needed a Big Daddy mug to wash it down, get their mind right, and go into Game 7 feeling like they were going to win and go into the World Series. Instead, they were on the World Wide Web back then, buying plane tickets home, probably using a travel agent. You don't need a travel agent to go to Hooters, originalhooters.com. Visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations, the tender tacos, the shrimp tacos, some of my faves. Probably getting some cinnamon pretzel bites tonight in the McGuffey house as we get ready for Memorial Day weekend. I mentioned that last night. Might have to use the order.hooters.com website to pick up my order to go tonight, but I might get there early for the Big Daddy mug, wash it down with some summer shandy, some Dos Equis, some Blue Moon, something to make me feel better about this crazy-ass week that we've had of weather where it feels more like March than the end of May. OriginalHooters.com, the proud partner of this fine program. And the Paloma, $8 the rest of the month. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It tastes great. The Paloma, the drink of the month at Hooters. Back to the program. Lots of comments. Let me get back in here. Pablo, biggest collapse in Chicago, Game 6 of the NLCS. Definitely up there. Tom Cruise is amazing. Should I do a Tom Cruise when he was on Oprah? Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. When he jumps on the couch visiting Oprah. Godfather, we missed you yesterday. We were looking for some complaints. You may or may not be a good head coach, but Davidson's track record of hiring coach so far, not good. There he is. Worst collapse in Chicago sports, 69 Cubs. The most celebrated second-place team in MLB history. You're probably right. You are probably right. I mean, we heard enough about that team before the 16 Cubs actually got it done. My goodness, you are right. Do they trade Kobe White? Talking about the Bulls here, Eli, and get a couple of first-round picks from him. Maybe they trade Kobe White. No shot you're getting multiple first-round picks for him. Now, you have to match up a contract first off. That's how the NBA does trade. You got to match up money for money. Maybe a future first-round protected draft pick, meaning if a team's picking in the top 10 and it's that like a 2027 protected first round and you trade with somebody and they get the 9th pick, they keep it. So that's how it works. I don't know. You're not getting multiple first round picks for Kobe. Not happening. Is Jeff Blashill good for the young players? What a game in New York. Clyde, not ignoring you. Yes. By all accounts, people like Jeff Blashill. Spent 7 years in Detroit when they were at the complete bottom of their rebuild. When you're at the bottom and have nothing to work with after you've been a franchise that made the playoffs year after year after year, and you last 7 years, you did something right. When the Cubs get back to playing good teams, they're going to have to have a good closer. Please listen to me, cheap Tom Ricketts. They are. We went through the list a couple of days ago, and I'm not quite sure where that guy's coming from just yet. Daniel Palencia is probably your best option right now. He has the stuff of a closer. Yes, he's young, but as you try to get closer to June and into the trade deadline season, he's probably the best option on the board, and that includes David Robertson. I really believe that. Kyle, watching Halliburton last night keeps me thinking of mistake AK did in passing on Tyrese or P. Will. Thanks, AK. My God, I mentioned that last night at my house. And they're like, no way that happened. I'm like, yeah, look it up. It's embarrassing. And there's a couple of other drafts in there that are pretty embarrassing as well. For those of you logging on for the bet of the day, it's coming up. The bet of the day coming up. Pablo will be happy. We got the Aviators out today, which means we've been cashing and doing something a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm giving you 3 today. Michael, Bartman and the Cubs is nothing compared to the summer of 69. See, for those who were around in 69, it still chaps their ass, and I get it. Like, that hurt because they literally ripped it from the jaws of defeat. Kind of like the Pacers did last night to the Knicks. Biggest collapse has to be 69 Cubs or the Chicago Bears double doink. Interesting, Lip. The double doink. Is that a huge collapse? You go down the field, you take the lead. Who knows the trajectory of Mitch Trubisky? I don't think it changes much. But even if the Bears win that game, Matt Nagy, everybody's perceived a lot differently. Chuck called it. Not sure where they were coming with that one. I'm assuming Garfine. Cubs in 69 more devastating than Bartman in 03. See, that's what I'm saying. The PTSD from those who were around back then. That team, you had Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, Ferguson Jenkins, Ron Santo. There are 4, not all-stars, 4 Hall of Famers on the 69 Cubs. 4. That's insane. Watching Aaron Naismith nail all those threes last night reminded me of all the stories I've heard running through the playgrounds of Greencastle, Indiana, and the legend of Guff. Recap Lunch Hour fan, appreciate you, Pablo. Godfather, 69, 8-game lead in August, and Holtzman pitches a no-hitter. Cubs lose the division by 9 games in September. I was there. That's what I'm saying. For those who were there, you got to listen to – they had 92 wins and lost the division by 8 games. Incredible. Swayze didn't know Cade could rush it up there like that. He's wearing Pryor's number. I hope he can live up to it. Pryor never lived up to it. So I hope Cade soars past Mark Pryor. Mark Pryor, and he's admitted this, and this is why I love it. Mark Pryor's in the game as the LA Dodgers pitching coach and admitted, I wish I would have changed a lot of things. I wish I didn't get so worked up about who I'm supposed to be. I wish I enjoyed things on my off day, like the museums and the city. But he was so dialed in, he wasn't a great guy to deal with back then. He's admitted that. I like that he's had perspective now. He's having success as the pitching coach of the Los Angeles Dodgers. No issue with the Caleb story, says Kyle. Just start winning, and this will be a distant memory. Bear down. I don't need to hear from him. It probably serves him best to say, look, I'm here to win games in 2025. This was before I got here. We're moving on. And everyone can else move on. It's the book and what this is a sex sells headline to me. The juiciest stuff from the book is the pre-draft of 2024. That's 13, 14 months removed from now. And now we're trying to bring it up. It just makes no sense to me, unless you're trying to sell a book. Biggest collapse in Chicago history got to be the 07 Super Bowl loss to the Colts. Hester gifts them a 7-point lead. We led 14-6 at the end of one. We mustered 3 points the rest of the game. I'm not sure I can call that the biggest collapse in history. I feel you, Tom. What a lot of people don't remember about that game, it was 22-17 Colts going into the fourth quarter. Rex Grossman had a quarterback rating of over 100 going into the fourth quarter. Thomas Jones had a field day, rushing for 7.5 yards a carry. Cedric Benson was doing well, but Thomas Jones was just ripping that Colts defense up and down the field. And Ron Turner got cute and threw 2 deep balls down the field. Both were picked. One was returned for a pick 6. Colts win 29-17. The rest is history. I actually blame coaching as much as Rex was playing a good football game with the rain coming down sideways. Stick to the run. Thomas Jones was a dude. With that O-line, 22-17. A lot of people don't remember that. Rex Grossman, I think it was 100.3. I'm sick that I just off the top of my head can spew that, but talk about how it still hurts. Hawks hire yet another assistant coach, says Wayne. I believe they don't want to spend the money for an established winning head coach, just my opinion. Wayne, I feel you. They offered 5 years, $25 million to David Carl, who's the head coach of Denver University, and just re-upped at Denver, I believe, for just over $1 million. Tells you that Carl, to me, didn't want to be here and is going to pick his NHL job of choice when it comes time. Wayne agrees with Kyle. Tommy, was the double doink considered a collapse? You're the second person to mention it, Tommy. I think there are no wrong answers. Swayze, I'll use this one. Godfather, where the hell were you yesterday? I didn't get my usual Ricketts jackhammer. Well, we got it today. And Clyde, damn it, sometimes I wish you were being facetious and fun, but I know you're serious about this, and we're calling you out again. Your description of that Kerry Wood home run seems like pods, too. I was at game 2, and that place felt like it was shaking. I was at game 2 of the White Sox World Series as well. I'm very fortunate. I pinch myself at these moments we've been at, but the Pods home run was so improbable, just like Kerry's home run. You're probably right. And it was a walk-off, but the way Wrigley was, if you were in the upper deck, it literally was doing this. It was crazy how it was. Double doink collapse Nagy's brain. Wayne, see us White Sox, we know just stink, so we don't have the Black Cat or Bartman to blame. When I'm not here, I count on you. I appreciate that, Godfather. Ray, the 03 Cubs, the worst collapse in Chicago sports history. Steve with a new one, the 71 Blackhawks, Game 7, third period. I love the. See, like this is I like all of this. I like when guys like that's a game that is off the radar to people. Clyde Daniel Palencia is a good young option as closer. He throws 101, definitely electric stuff. Chuck, meaning Barkley, picked the Pacers last night to the chagrin of the rest of the panel. Lip, don't bring that game up. Was there. My heart sank after Parkey missed that kick. Laces out Ray Finkel. How about the 69 Bears, says Michael, 1-13. 69, a bad year for sports in college. We've kind of been living that for a lot. Feels like we've been living 69 for a while, except we haven't had even the tease of a good team. The 71. How about this? There's another 71 Stanley Cup. I love this. The Hail Mary Washington last year, major clap, happens in the middle of the season. 10 games, a 10-game losing streak ensued afterwards. Well, we're not on a losing streak, and I don't want to not speak it into existence here because you got to ride it when it's hot, folks. And we got a bet of the day. How about Karl Anthony Towns? I told you that thing should have been 25.5. That thing soared over early, easy. He had 15 points at the half, finished with 38. Karl Anthony Towns, we appreciate you. Folks, this was a day that I was in love with three different things. As a matter of fact, even more. I said, screw it. The other night we did 2. Tonight I'm doing 3. You guys know how I feel about Julius Randle. I'm baffled. I'm confused. I don't understand the line. And for Lip Ripper, I got a pond hockey here, buddy. I got some frozen pond bets. I got 3. So you guys know the drill. We're either going 3-0, we're either going 2-1, 1-2, or 0-3. And I'm okay. I'm okay with it all. First off, Julius Randle is at 19.5 points tonight, 6.5 rebounds. I don't understand the rebound prop. I really don't. He's gone over this number in every game but 2. 27.5 points and rebounds. He had 28. Here, let me read you Julius Randle's. Just his points alone, the last 4 games, would cover this number. Okay? Just the points alone. Here are his game logs for the playoffs. Just the last 4 games, let's call it. 28 points, 29 points, 31 points. The points alone cover. Here are the rebounds his last, let's go 5 games. 8, 8, 5, 10, 7. So here are the numbers. 31, 34, 36, 37, 36 for points and rebounds. I have to play it at 27.5. Julius Randle threes. There's a lot of Julius Randle in this. Julius Randle, the last 3 games has attempted 23s. He's hit 11. He had 5 the other night. I don't expect him to go 5 for 6. 2 for 6 against the Warriors in game 5. 4 for 8 against the Warriors in game 4. Yes, he was 1 for 6. Then you go back and go, oh, he did it 3 times in the 5 games in the first series. 2 threes. He's shooting them. I'm taking the 2 threes. And then the Florida Panthers, over 2.5 goals. They have been historic this year, okay? They've been historic. They are 20 games. I'm sorry, 20. They're plus 20 on the road this postseason in terms of goal scoring, okay? Dude, plus 20. They have gone at least 3 goals in every single road playoff game except for one. The Florida Panthers, and I have it right here. I'm keeping the shades on because that's how good I feel. The Florida Panthers, just so we're on the same page, have done this. I want you guys to know what the Florida Panthers have done on the road. They've been historic. You go all the way back to the Tampa Bay series. 6 goals, 2 goals. They won that game 2-0. Okay? 6 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals, 6 goals, 6 goals, 5 goals. That was going to be my play by itself. Well, then there's the juicy parlay. If you want to throw them all in the same hat, it's a plus 367. I'm counting them as 3 bets, 3 separate bets. We either get the ultimate reward, okay, or we take one and get smoked in the face. That's the way it goes. But I'm telling you guys, these are 3 bets I absolutely love. Even with a day like this, the Aviators are needed with last night's betting victory. If we win tonight, woo, Panthers going to win it all again. I think flirting with the money line. I think flirting with the money line works. What's going on, Drive Secure 24/7? What's up, Hollywood? I know what you're doing there. Julius Randle, 6'9" at 250, could rebound a little more. Clyde calling out Julius Randle when I just gave you his last 4 games, which are way in the 30s with points and rebounds. Be my guest. I'm going to keep it up for you. It's a muddied water. There's a lot of stuff on the screen right here. Randle over 27.5 points and rebounds. Randle 2 or more threes. The Florida Panthers over 2.5 goals. We're riding all of them. We could be 3-0 tonight. We'll see what happens. We'll put this out separately as well. But Julius Randle, you guys know, I was like, do I go to the well again? Well, we had points and assists the other night and points. We're doing it a different way with Julius Randle. And the Panthers thing, I don't know if Carolina, who, by the way, has only allowed over 3 goals at home one time this postseason, game 1. So something's got to give. I'm going with Florida, who just keeps on scoring and figuring it out on the road. That's what I love about this game, is that they are on the road. Those are the recap bets of the day. Bets of the day. There are 3. This has been a fun discussion. We don't do this a lot. We talk a lot about day of, here's what's going on, the Cubs, the White Sox, blah, 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 blah. I like the biggest collapse because it brings debate and it brings a lot of different opinion. Pat Boyle will be with us next week. The Hawks need to have their press conference first. I'll get Pat on the show next week. I'll let you guys know what day that is. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your day. It's been the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, brought to you by Hooters. Tom, I got to get this in. Guff wants us to believe Grossman was having a good game that Super Bowl. His 1 TD was a 4-yard pass. He was 20 for 28 with 165, 2 fumbles, 2 picks, including the pick 6. You didn't listen to what I said. You didn't listen to what I said, Tom. Look at Rex after the 3rd quarter and then what he did in the 4th quarter. I didn't say Rex Grossman had a great game. You threw 2 deep balls down the sideline in the driving. You want to know? I've done this before. Thomas Jones had 2 carries in the 4th quarter. I'm not saying he had a great game. He was managing. I will blame the coaches. They stopped running the football. It's what got him there. The 2006 here. I mean, if you look at here, I'm going to give you, I know I'm going late now, but I want to give you got to go again. I always say this. You got to go behind the curtain. Is it XLI? Is that the one that was Chicago Bears? Chicago Bears. This is where you got to do the full. I've done this so many times that it hurts. All right, so when you go to the 4th quarter, this is how many times the Bears ran the football. Thomas Jones for 12, Thomas Jones for 6. Rex down the sidelines for 22 yards to Moose, and then he goes deep right to Moose for the pick 6. Okay? 2 carries, 18 yards for Thomas Jones. Next, Thomas Jones for 4. And then 3 straight passes. Then pass. Thomas Jones for 12. Okay. So that's 18, 22, 34 yards. Bears passed the rest of the game. He had 1 more carry for 12. He had 56 yards rushing in the 4th quarter, but we kept throwing the football. I will blame. I do think Rex didn't have a great game, but I'm telling you, go look at the game plan. Go watch the 4th quarter. It's fine. I like disagreeing too. Have a great rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. I would say enjoy the weather, but don't. But start ramping up plans for the weekend, guys. Go look at Hooters, the best wings in town, originalhooters.com to find the location nearest you and get those tender tacos and the Paloma. Have a great day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Hey, we're going 3 bets. Let's go 3-0. Take that.